What is going on, guys? You're back here once again with the Kayfabe Heels. It's Ego Crazy.
It's your boy Damo.
And this is the first time that I guess we're here with you guys. Technically, we've done 3 videos before this, and YouTube striked them. So now we're gonna go with the review format. But bear with us. We're gonna still take you through everything, through the speculation, through the news, the rumors. We're gonna tell you all our ideas, opinions, and it's going to be very informative.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, we got copyrighted by Disney, as Ego just said, and it's been a long road to try to get this review up, but we're finally able to do it. The season's been crazy. We've seen a lot of stuff, and we're going to do a brief recap of what we remember right now, just from the past couple episodes. It's been a lot.
Definitely.
I've always said since the first reaction, even though it's been copyright stricken, but the first review I was talking about OB as how he's a standout person from the show, and I still stand on that coming into episode 4.
I mess with OB, man. Nice comedic relief. They got him high on the scale of intelligence. I like when they do that. We're gonna have to see where him and Victor Timely and others play out when Mr. Fantastic get in the universe.
Oh man, like that. I don't know if he gonna make it that far, man. I don't know.
But I like the intelligence competitions that they be doing in there.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like his comedic relief with different characters in the show. We're going to go over some of that from episode 4 because he got to interact with Victor Timely in this episode, and I thought that was probably one of the highlights of this episode for me.
That's something else we was talking about, too, that, we didn't get to cover with you guys. We was talking about what came first, the chicken or the egg, because, we recall watching and it was like OB wrote the TVA and he came up with it and all that, and we were like, huh? I thought Victor, or I thought Kang, did it.
Yeah.
But then, as we saw the previous episode, and we'll get into it, it was really both of them, like a paradox. We don't know what came first, but this whole thing from episode 1 to 4 was in Ouroboros.
Which is beautiful that my favorite character name is Ouroboros.
And if you guys know, in Ouroboros, that's the full circle, the snake eating its tail, the symbol of life, circle of life, excuse me.
Yeah, that's right. But no Lion King, because we won't get copyrighted again.
Yeah, but let's go on and get into it, man. What you want to start with?
So I want to start with, let's talk about Renslayer popping up in the Citadel at the beginning of the episode. We had her and Miss Minutes seeing He Who Remains dead corpse sitting there, and Miss Minutes had a secret to tell her about how she helped lead the army that won the war to get He Who Remains there.
And that kind of explained how everyone at the TVA was a variant and lost their memories because Miss Minutes, this diabolical AI. We'll get more into Miss Minutes too, just crazy.
Yeah, so He Who Remains decided to wipe Renslayer's memory. Even though she did all that stuff to help him, he made it a point in episode 3 to say he doesn't do partners. And in this, we show every variant of Kang doesn't do partnership very well.
Which is interesting to me because for all the ones who was into the comics and the cartoons and stuff, we know that Ravonna Renslayer is one of the, I guess, what would you say? Love interest, the origin point of Kang, and because
she's the Lady Death to Thanos, the Kang and Renslayer,
and because he fights for her love so much, and he can't obtain it every time, and every point in history, something happens to where she dies, and he just, well, I won't become Kang. Every time I become Kang, then this tragedy happens, blah blah blah. But he inevitably becomes Kang. But in this one, it's different the way they're interpreting it on the show, like. He fake loves her, but at the same time, and he respects her partnership and her place in this war. But he did a lot of things to him, and he kicked her off the boat.
See, though, but that's part of Miss Minutes too, though, because that was episode 3. Remember, Victor and her were starting to hold hands. He got her flowers and stuff, and then Miss Minutes was like, "Remember, she said that word. She said partnership," and then Victor's like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't do that." So it's kind of looking like Miss Minutes is the person to kind of persuade He Who Remains and Victor and all the variants to not do partnerships because, as she said in episode 3, she wants to be his girl, which is something else.
Which is crazy, dude.
Yeah,
and we're not even gonna get into all that, but that's an agenda too. Disney trying to get us into the AI and I could be your girl, woo, 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 with the robots. We're not gonna get into that, Disney. But that's how the first 5 minutes of the episode starts, and then we get into the catastrophe going on inside of the TVA, and they finally got Victor inside the TVA to get his temporal aura to open up the machine to try to save it. And the whole presence of Victor and meeting everyone at the TVA, I just want to highlight how we had Kang, we had He Who Remains, now we got Victor Timely. I appreciate Victor Timely's performance in this because he's...
I think Jonathan Majors did a fantastic job at portraying each person so differently. He portrayed Kang as menacing, he portrayed Victor as kind of comedic, and he portrayed He Remains also kind of comedic, but still kind of got a little sinister backdrop to him too.
Because he knows everything, and he was toying with him like, I know everything before you're gonna... It was just so nice the way they did it.
Yeah, definitely.
But seeing OB and meeting Victor Timely, and going back to what we talked about earlier, the chicken or the egg, it was nice, man.
Yeah, like OB has been a huge carrier of the TVA handbook for a whole season, and now we got to see Victor got a hold of the TVA handbook from Renslayer in episode 3. So since we saw that, now we know that Victor was going off the creations that he made in the future, but OB said he wrote the TVA handbook. So which one did it?
Speaking of that, Renslayer dropped it off at his crib in Chicago.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so their little interaction with them talking to each other was very nice for the episode. It kind of was like a little like chicken or the egg, as Ego just said, and it was nice. But that still was like this feeling of dread. It was a lot of comedic relief in this episode,
but it was high stakes at the same time, and that's what I've been waiting for. Like the past 3 episodes were good. Yeah, they would, but I wouldn't even say filler, but they definitely weren't like catastrophic to where we were just like, oh, what's happening next week?
Yeah, definitely. And then also too, the thing that I pointed out was the hot chocolate thing. Like, what's the significance between the hot chocolate that Victor was so excited for? Is Kang a big fan of hot chocolate? Like, or is there some type of reason?
Maybe he invented it or had some part in inventing it. Maybe he liked it as a child. I don't know.
But so, and then let's get into Renslayer going into the prison where they imprison all the rogue TVA agents.
And you got, and I thought they was going to go along with it. I thought that was the route they were going to take and make some type of army rebellion against both the Lokis and Mobius and them, but they all stood against Renslayer and
besides X5.
X5. And I'm just like, I'm wondering like, why are they keeping him along? Because he's not menacing. He's not like a formidable villain.
There has to be a reason, though. Like maybe he has a change of heart towards the end of the season, or he may be the catalyst that makes them save the TVA.
Probably. He might be the ones to, after he's went along with all this corrupt shit, he might be the one to save Loki or something. It might be some dire situation. Both the Lokis are, chained up or hemmed up, something, or Mobius or anybody. And then
he's the one to sacrifice himself or make the big play to save them.
I'm just wondering, what is the purpose? Because he pruned Renslayer later on in the episode, and he survives. He's just there.
But remember, he only pruned Renslayer because he was under the spell of Sylvie.
Yeah, under the spell of Loki.
So I think that because he's become such a prominent figure in the season, that he has to have a bigger purpose.
Definitely.
Towards the end. But moving on to some more highlights of the episode, let's talk about Mobius. That's another character that I like to highlight for this season. What do you think his place in the timeline was? In his real timeline, he's OG.
That's what I'm thinking, because they're making an effort to highlight that every time. Mm-hmm. Like Sylvie got on his ass this episode. She said, "You want pie?" And like we're leaving the fate of the TVA to these 3 scientists, and it's like, what? And you just really just lackadaisical, nonchalant. And she said, "You haven't even looked into, since you found out you were a variant, you haven't even looked into your life or seen if you have a family or whatever." It's a kind of way of him distancing himself from it.
Distracted almost.
Yeah, like I'm just about the job. I don't want to know, because if I know, then everything will,
it's gonna be different. And then they talked about him wanting his jet ski for the last 2 seasons. So I'm starting to think that this jet ski has to be a big problem of his life, wherever it is on the timeline. That's why he wants to talk about it, buy one. Maybe he's a salesman. Or maybe he really enjoyed being out on the water with his family. It had to be something with his jet ski. That has to get answered in season 2.
Something. Or maybe he's like some type of government official, like with Ross or something. Some type of agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like. That's what he seems like he could be. And then maybe he just gets out on the weekends with the jet skis. Yeah. I don't think his whole life probably would be based around that. That's probably like his
leisure activities. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. Something. And then let's talk about Miss Minutes. Like,
sick.
I think that this is the real villain of this season is Miss Minutes, because she's already shown like all these different plot points of what she really wants, and I don't think she wants to be with He Who Remains. I think she wants to be She Who Remains.
Yeah, I can see that. Miss Minutes is the villain so far. She got Renslayer back, you know, to the current TVA timeline when they were both at the end of time, and she's over there plotting and doing all this other stuff, and she's gleefully laughing as all the prisoners got killed.
Yeah,
I'm just like, dang, and she's over here being a jealous ex, or wants to be Victor's girlfriend, and like, dude.
But she also said too that Victor will never be He Who Remains, so maybe He Who Remains and her had a better relationship than what the rest of these variants had with her.
But then at the same time, it begs the question, like, what will happen to Victor? At the end of the episode, we seen he spaghettified, and, you know, but everybody there got in the blast zone. Like, if you would think, like, somebody would be alive from this if everyone in the TVA got blasted by this light wave. And I mean, I guess he went out there first and got, you know, obliterated, but they're going to start up the next episode, we presume, just at a random point in time, and everyone's going to be, like, in the continuity, but they're going to be remembering, like, oh, this isn't right. We were just at the TVA. What happened? And then they're going to recall, but something's going to be wrong, and we're going to be like, shit, they're in a circumstance. That's exactly how it's going to go down next week. We just don't know what the circumstance is.
Yeah. I think that, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, too, that it's very reminiscent of Infinity War. You know what I mean? Like, the feeling of they lost.
Yeah, when Victor goes out there and they had this whole elaborate plan with the loom and putting the shit on there, and he just died instantly.
It felt spaghetti.
It felt like Chris Pratt coming
asking, like,
did we lose?
Did we lose? Like, I think that this season of Loki, like, this is what Marvel needed. Like, Marvel needed something like this to put them back in a situation where we're excited to see what they got coming next. Like, with Secret Invasion and She-Hulk and all the stuff before it, like, no series ever got us to the point where we're like, okay, we really can't wait till next week. At least in my opinion, since WandaVision. I'm always a WandaVision stan. I think that's probably the best series they made.
Yeah, it seems like they had to get back on track. They was doing a whole bunch of TV stuff. They were just trying to fill in the gaps. They were like, ooh, we hot. We just dropped Infinity War. Let's get all the money we can. And they were trying to introduce these properties, She-Hulk, WandaVision. I mean, they did right with WandaVision, but then everything after that.
Then the new Captain America with Falcon. Like, so it's like that set up the new Cap movie, which is cool. I think, you know, like, it's something different, like, than what we're used to. We got Miss Marvel set up the Marvels, which is coming out next week.
Yeah, I forgot about Miss Marvel. Yeah, we got a lot of. They did the groundwork.
Yeah,
that I would say, but fans aren't satisfied with that because we're used to a couple movies coming out. And then by the third, fourth movie, we're used to a team up.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's been no big team up since Endgame. Well, I mean, unless you want to count Spider-Man. And the Marvel's coming out next week.
And Spider-Man single-handedly revitalized the theater after the pandemic, brought everyone out the house.
Yeah.
Spider-Man did that.
Yeah.
So they thought the movies was dead. And we have the bringing of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland to thank.
Yeah, to keep them cinemas open. So hopefully now Marvel sees that, you know, the TV shows are okay, but we need more movies, better movies.
I think I seen a report that they was finna slow down on those, like, limited series television shows. So we gonna see.
Yeah, like, because I feel like that outside of Loki, like, after Loki ends, like, I don't know what's next on the slate for the TV shows. I don't remember right now, but I know for a fact that, like, after Loki, like, I'm really not looking forward to no other TV shows from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I'm looking forward to this Marvels. I'm looking forward to Blade, which Blade is not coming until next year or 2 years from now. You know, so, like, there's a few new properties that are coming, and then of course we still waiting on the X-Men. We got Deadpool coming out next year.
Deadpool is what I'm really hyped for. I keep seeing rumors about Magneto, James McAvoy, Professor X. Both the Professor X's I seen was rumored to be in there.
Yeah.
Just a lot. I don't know. We're going to see. But if all the X-Men are in there, you know they finna do some whole bunch of Deadpool and Wolverine killing just type of stuff. It's going to be silly, definitely. But they said this is going to be Deadpool in this MCU. So he's going to be making jokes and stuff about all of
cussing
them.
and doing all that other good stuff too. Hopefully, like, because I don't want no watered down Deadpool. Because if he's watered down, then keep him.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
But where do we go from here, man? At the end of the episode, everyone got in a blast wave. What do you think about that?
I think that what this is going to do is because something we failed to mention was they had to reboot Miss Minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And since they rebooted Miss Minutes, OB said that their systems will, the system defenses will be down, so magic will be available. Now, we have 2 Lokis in here that do magic, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe Sylvie might have teleported them somewhere else, or maybe Loki could have did something during the blast. Like, it could have been a lot of things. Because how many times have we seen Loki die, but not really die? So I'm thinking that the fact they made that a point to say that the defenses are down and that they can use magic, there's a reason for this. Like obviously with them putting Brad under the spell was obviously what we wanted to see. But what if they got moved somewhere because of Sylvie or because of Loki?
You know, but I don't know if they're that powerful because they're outside of time. Nobody in there. Obi's been there for 400 years. Mobius, all of them, they don't age. The clock doesn't tick.
Yeah, so but they don't have powers. Loki and Sylvie have powers. You know what I'm saying? Like, Loki's the god of mischief. Both of them are the god and goddess of mischief.
That'll be pretty powerful, though, if they could teleport everyone there, like, to some point on a timeline from the TVA.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Maybe. That'll be a power-up, definitely.
You know? And I think that we've got so used to seeing Loki not use his powers, we forget how really strong he really is. He's a god. Both of them are really gods.
And he said that this episode, too. What I want to talk about, too, specifically, I want to get your take on this. Where do you think they are at this point in time?
As far as the Marvel timeline?
As far as because after episode 6 of Loki season 1, they both killed, or not they both, but we know Sylvie killed He Who Remains. And then we thought, or the fans' speculation as a whole thought that it could have been that started all the branching, or it could have been Spider-Man and the spell with Doctor Strange. It could have been that, or it could have been Doctor Strange and the whole Wanda thing when her coming back and terrorizing everyone and dream walking. So we don't really know. From there, we've had like 4 or 5 series since then. We've had Captain Civil War, Captain America. What you say right there?
No, I was saying that we had all these different incursions happen with all these different heroes. Mm-hmm. I feel like that Loki's is still the first one. Like, maybe because we haven't seen the effects of it fully, but in like each one of these heroes have their own separate reasons of why they broke time. But Loki's with this TVA, which is the Time Variance Authority, that has to be the biggest one.
Do you think like this is coinciding with any of them? Because like that happened and instantly, like once Sylvie did that shit, he instantly after that was on the run and then he was time slipping.
Yeah.
So this was like instantaneous. And then we see like in Spider-Man and the other movies, it's been some time. They get,
they get back to normal after everything happened and stuff. But in the same breath, we also got the Marvels coming out that's going to also probably deal with some more time slipping. Well, not time slipping, but time traveling type of scenarios going on because they're switching places mid-time period. Whenever they use their powers, they're switching. So
something.
So like I think that Loki is the first incursion, and that I think after that Spider-Man was next. Then Doctor Strange came out before Spider-Man, if I'm not mistaken. No. Spider-Man came out before Doctor Strange.
But you know what I'm saying? It's so much that could have been.
Yeah.
Because that could have been the first incursion with Loki, like the thing that popped it off. Because He Who Remains had the sacred timeline. So we can all agree that once they killed him, there was no more order. So then that allowed, I guess, everything else to fall in line. Like Spider-Man and them creating that spell for everyone to forget. Maybe this, because this is a big point in the timeline, the continuity, with the branches overloading the TVA. Maybe that happens when Spider-Man brings all those other universes in at the end, and then it explodes. Like, oh shit, everything's going crazy.
See, though, but maybe that's why he was able to do it, because since everything was already branching off, he was able to reach into the branches to get Tobey Maguire, to get Willem Dafoe, to get Andrew Garfield. Because remember, before they were pruning anything that was supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. So, like, maybe because the TVA was already in shambles when that happened, nobody from the TVA popped up in New York like, hey, let's go branch these guys. They're not supposed to be here.
Definitely. It's interesting, man. But, hey, We hope you guys enjoyed it. We want to thank you again for tuning in with us, man.
And thank you for staying loyal to us, too, the people that subscribe to us. We appreciate you. And this is your first time on the channel. Please like and subscribe for weekly content as well.
We're going to be back here this week, or next week. However it falls to your timeline, we're going to be here because the schedule's a little rocky. But we're going to be here for episode 5, reviewing and speculating all things Loki and MCU related.
Of course. And we're not doing any more copyright problems. So now we're doing 4, 5, and 6, and there should be no more hiccups. We apologize for not having 1, 2, 3 up. But if you're here watching the review for episode 4, you probably already saw the first 3 as well. But
just know, we're real nerds, man. We on top of all of it. We got you. We got the real opinions and the real speculation. So keep it locked here.
See ya.